Welcome to the Part of Fresh New Look. In today's show, we're going to meet Olympian Victoria Arlen.
I'm Victoria. As you can see, I'm in a wheelchair, and I'm going to kind of tell you my journey because I wasn't always in a wheelchair, and it all started when I was 11. So from there until now, I'm going to kind of share with you my story and some of the things that I went through. So I was, your typical 11-year-old. I danced, I played field hockey, I was a swimmer. I basically kind of did all different sports and was very active. And, I thought that everything was going good for me, and that all changed when in April of 2006, when I woke up and my legs had stopped working. And I went to stand up and my legs would give out. And it was almost like, your legs fallen asleep and then you go to stand up and you're all wobbly. You guys ever felt that? Yeah, that's what I felt. So I got up and I was like, oh, I'm just a little tired. And it kept progressing, and it wasn't just because I was tired. And within 2 weeks, I'd become completely paralyzed from the waist down, and nobody could tell me or my family why. And to top it off, it didn't stop there. Within a month of that, I started losing the ability to speak and the ability to eat. And I'm a big food lover, so that really kind of stunk. And you guys like food? Yeah, food's good. And within 2 years, I had succumbed to a complete vegetative state where I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, I couldn't eat, I couldn't walk. Basically, all that we take for granted, that we do in our everyday lives was taken away from me. And I was stuck, trapped in my body that I couldn't do anything in. And it was very bad because no one knew what was going on. We still didn't have a diagnosis of what started it all. And my prognosis as to what my future would be was very uncertain. So my parents didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. Basically, they kind of gave up on me ever getting better. And I was determined to live. And we're all given these troubles in our life, and the key is to keep pushing forward. And I could have easily, laid back and just accepted my fate or pushed on forward, and that's what I did. And it took me, I had to relearn how to do everything. So I had to relearn how to move my fingers, at first I would try to communicate with blinking my eyes, and I had to relearn everything from even saying the simplest words to now being in high school. And it was very hard. And also I didn't eat for 5 years, so I had to relearn everything. Can you imagine? It's basically, you go to sleep when you're 11 and you wake up when you're 15 and you have to start all over again. Wipe the slate clean and start all over again. It's very tough. You miss out on so much. And I just kept going forward, and I was determined to get back to school. And so I returned. So I was a 5th grader when I got paralyzed. So I was out of school for 5 years, and I returned to high school with a 5th grade education. Now, you guys are in middle school, and you know all that you go through as middle schoolers from the time you get there to the time you go next year when you guys go to high school. I missed all of that. So there was a big gap heading into high school because I was an 11-year-old last time I was in school. So I had to kind of learn the lingo and learn what LOL meant and all those other stuff that I'm still working on deciphering via text messaging. And it was very tough. And even going into school, going through what I went through, I always had the odds against me. So from doctors to medical professionals kind of not really giving me good odds and kind of telling my parents that we don't know, this is kind of it, to even going into school where some of my, when they first came to school, I mean, as you can imagine, okay, so you're given a paper on a student who hasn't eaten in 5 years, just learned how to talk again, hasn't been in school for 5 years, and is in a wheelchair. The teachers are going to be pretty freaked out. You know, I would be freaked out if I read that. Wouldn't you? A little bit. So they tried to put me in all these really, really easy classes and didn't want to pressure me. And I'm a triplet. So I have 2 brothers my age, and they were sophomores. And I showed up, and they wanted to put me as a freshman. And I was like, no, 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 no. I've always been the queen bee. I've always kind of been the leader of the pack. And so they, after nagging them, I managed to get into college prep classes, on track to graduate this year with my brothers in 3 years instead of 4. But that's after barely having any free time, but working hard because I want to be and stay on track with my brothers. And then came sports. Now, how many of you guys are athletes in the, oh, so a lot of people. How many of you guys like to watch sports and like to do fun recreational things, yeah? So that was the biggest thing for me when I got paralyzed, was not being able to do sports. And I only found out about 2 years ago about Paralympic sports. Now, have any of you guys familiar with the Paralympics? Yeah? Okay, good. I was like, uh-oh, hopefully they know what they are. And so I started with sled hockey. Now, have you heard of sled hockey? Yeah? So I started with that and then was brought back into swimming. And so when I got into swimming, I wanted to make it to London. And a year ago, I went to my very first Paralympic meet and told one of the coaches I want to make it to London. And he took me aside and said, "Sweetie, you came in way too late into the game to even stand a chance on making the London team." Now, that really hit home for me because I don't really, if someone tells me I can't do something, I tend to have a problem and go out and do it just to be like, what? And so I was like, oh, you just kind of ignited the fire right there. And it actually took my mom, who's right there, my Mama Arlen. There we go, Mama. It took my mom telling me when we were driving home, she pulled over and she looked at me, and I'd never seen her so just really determined. She goes, "Don't you ever let anyone tell you you can't do something. If you believe you can do it, you can do it." So I was like, "Okay, Mama, I'm gonna make it to London." She was like, "Okay." And within a year, I went to the London Games, and as you can see, got some pretty cool bling bling, and was like, I was able to do that. And I was quite proud of the day that I was able to be like, "You told me I couldn't do it. Uh-oh." My point is we're all, I mean, how many of you guys have had a dream and someone's told you that you can't do it? How many, keep your hands up if you've listened to that person. Each and every one of us are unique, and we all have a different light that's within us. And you have to keep that shining, because if you let someone else blow it out, what's left? You're going to be following in someone else's shadow. And the key is like my mom said, don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. If you believe it and work hard for it, you can achieve it. And don't be happy with your life and do something that makes you happy. Have you ever heard of the expression, do what you love what you do? Yeah? Well, it's so true. And too many times we're forced into situations that we may not feel like we should be doing, but yet people tell us this is what you need to be doing, you should be doing this, don't do that, you should do this. And that we all have the ability to be something great in this world. We all have the ability to make a difference in this world. And we have to keep that kind of spark shining, because you can't let someone take that away from you. Because if I had listened to that, I wouldn't be here today. If I had listened to people trying to get rid of my sparkle and what I wanted to do in this world, I wouldn't be talking. I probably would still be in a hospital bed, just accepting my fate. And don't let other kids influence you as well. How many of you guys have ever been bullied before? I have. It's not fun. Now, how many of you guys have been a bully? I'm appreciating the honesty, and and I'm not judging. I mean, we all have. I'm sure we've all picked on each other every once in a while, but deep down inside, when we are the victim of being bullied, you do realize why, because someone else wants to take away that sparkle that you have. I know with me, when I first went to high school, kids would give me a lot of trouble for being in a wheelchair. And it got to the point where I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it. At some point, there was a whole hallway lobby of kids. And so a lot of kids had been staring at me and making fun of me. So I went down, it was this big straightaway, so picture a bunch of kids on both sides, and I went down. So I have a thing called Rock Your Disability. And when I say rock your disability, it can be, you're physically disabled, you may have something that makes you feel different than everyone else. You may have blonde hair and your friends have brown hair. You need to rock it. You need to make people be like, this is me and I'm awesome. Can you guys say that? Like, say it with heart. Yeah. Like, come on. And then go to people and be like, what? But anyway, so I went down the straightaway. And I was like, all right, if people are going to stare at me, I'm going to give them something to stare at. We all know runway modeling, right? So I went down the hallway and was like, work it, work it, work it, pose. And in my wheelchair, but it was a lot faster, and I wasn't wearing these, so I was able to be really, like, dramatic. And, kids, and I was like, and then I went like that, because that's my signature move. And I was like, don't be jealous, because I get around a lot cooler than you guys, and I have my blinged out spokes. So what I'm saying is rock your abilities and rock your disabilities and rock who you are, because you're awesome and you guys can make a huge difference in this world. You just have to believe in yourself and cast away all those haters. You know what I mean? Yeah? I did, yeah. Boom. Boom. What? Or if you really want to, you can go down the hallway and be like, work it, work it, work it, and just be confident, be you. So, thank you. Do I like my wheelchair? Yeah, it's my pimped out ride. I love this chair, but I might be getting like an even more pimped out one, so that's cool.
How was your experience in London?
It was amazing, and with the Paralympics and the Olympics, it's literally 10 days of extreme, demand mentally and physically. But it was absolutely amazing, and the closing ceremonies were great. Opening, it was such a surreal feeling. I kind of had to recap it when I got back, because once you're there, you're like, oh my gosh, but you have to go into that mode. So it was really cool. My biggest competitor was British, so I learned a lot from her, and I taught her like wicked and awesome and stuff. So she's like, I love these American words.
So she was nice.
She was super nice. I mean, everyone was trying to play up the fact that, we were rivals and enemies, but her and I hugged each other before every race, so it was totally the opposite. It's like my way of bowing, but backwards, so.
And on that note, boys and girls, what do we say to Victoria?
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome, Victoria, to the Partham Middle School.
Thank you.
Who was the first person you thought about as soon as you noticed that you won the gold medal?
Where my parents were sitting. I thought about where my parents were, because I didn't know where they were. I knew they were up front, I just didn't know where. Probably that, and probably I thanked God right away too. So it was a tie between both of them.
When you looked up and saw that you had broken the 100-meter freestyle record, how did you feel?
I felt really good, because the previous record was my record, so I kept my title, which was really exciting. And I didn't notice it was a world record till as I was getting out of the pool when they announced it, because I just saw the one, didn't care about the time, because in the finals, as long as you get there first, you're the winner. So, and then that was a bonus. It's a little extra. So it was really exciting though.
Can you describe how the disability affected your life and what challenges did you face?
It affects my life immensely because I was a dancer and a runner, and so everything I did I needed my legs with. So I had to kind of stop and reevaluate things in my life. And you know, I had to, now with driving, I have to have like an adapted car, and with my house I have to get around in my chair. So it was a culture shock for sure, because you don't think about parking in handicapped spots and finding ramps. But for the most part, I made it work, and I had a great family that helped me make it work too. So it just eased right back into the same life, just a little shorter and rolling instead of walking.
When did you start thinking about swimming? How does it feel when your body hits the water?
I was a water baby. I grew up swimming. We had a pool at my house, and then we would go up to the lake every summer. So I've always loved the water, and I would nag my mom to join the swim team because she was a swimmer in college. And she didn't let me start till I was 9, and I just fell in love with it. And I think I fell in love with it even more after I got disabled, because I don't feel like I have a disability when I'm in the water. I feel like completely just free. So it's awesome.
Would you also speak about after your disability?
After?
Yeah.
I was petrified of the water after I got paralyzed, because I thought I couldn't swim because of my legs. And it took my brother Will throwing me in the water to realize that I could still swim, and then it became kind of my escape for everything, and my way of kind of just working through all that I've gone through. And I just feel so free when I'm swimming, because I don't have my chair, I don't need help, I just can go for hours and enjoy it. So it's really great.
What motivated you when you were in the hospital to keep on going and to get higher from where you were?
I have such an incredible support system and family that motivated me, and I love life. I mean, I had a lot of plans that I want to fulfill in my lifetime, and I wanted to, you know, experience this world. And I was so young, I hadn't even come close to experiencing it. So just the fact of getting back to living and being able to experience things and seeing my brothers and my family and all that they were doing, I wanted to be there right with them. I didn't want to give up. I wanted to keep going there until I got where they were and beyond.
You've gone to the Olympics, won 4 medals. What's your next goal?
Finish high school and to graduate and continue to speak. And I love acting, so I want to do a lot more of that. And I've been getting into like acting and modeling, so doing stuff like that, and then keep swimming. And I really want to get into triathlon. That's my next sports venture I want to do.
What were you thinking the nights before you headed back to high school?
I was really nervous, and I was really scared at how kids would see me, because we had just moved. So I was not only the new kid in school, but I was in a wheelchair. So it was very intimidating at first. And then it took me a couple months to kind of get acclimated and kind of build my confidence up. So I wasn't just, you know, at first I was very intimidated, but it was nerve-wracking, but I was excited to just get back and get back to school. I like school, so it was great.
What's the most important thing in your life?
My family and God and friends, dear friends, are the top.
What was it like to meet the president for the first time?
I was in a tent, and I thought I was just going to be shake your hand, take a picture, and go. And I found out it was a private meet and greet. So as I'm sitting there just waiting, talking with all the Secret Service, he's coming down like this hallway. So I see it, and have you ever like seen a robotic version of the president? It felt like I was looking at like a little mascot, or I'm like, that's not the real president. And then he walks over and says my name, and I'm like, it's the president. So it was really nerve-wracking, but he was so nice, and immediately like he gave me a hug instead of, I was like, do I shake his hand? Do I bow? I don't know. And then he just gives me this big bear hug, and then from that moment on, I was like, wow, this is really amazing. And he's such a good person that he didn't make it intimidating. He just, you know, you're acting like, you made it seem like you're just talking to a friend. So it was really great. I was like, I'm voting for you.
When you're swimming, modeling, or doing any sport, how do you feel?
I feel happy because I'm doing my passion. Whenever I'm fulfilling something that has to do with my passion, I just feel so happy, and I just feel so blessed to have the ability to do this. And I always want to share it with everyone else, share my experience. When I won, I immediately went up to the crowd and was meeting everyone and seeing my family. So I just feel really blessed and happy and thankful for the ability to be able to be following my dreams.
How is it like when you wake up every morning, and what are your thoughts?
Sometimes if I'm getting up for school, my first thoughts are, I really want to stay in bed. I'm really comfy. But no. Well, I think we all feel that way. But my first thoughts are, I always like to start myself off with a positive note. So I always say, today's going to be a great day. I'm going to meet some nice people. I'm just going to have fun. And I always like to kind of think about what I'm doing for the day so I kind of can plan it out. And then I just get up and do it. So,
if you could pick any cartoon character, which cartoon character do you think you have any resemblance with?
Well, I really like Finding Nemo, and my theme is kind of just keep swimming. So I think Dory. I love Dory. I mean, I'm not blue. I don't look like a fish. I hope not. But please tell me if I do. But she's just really funny and just kind of takes everything as it comes, and she likes to swim.
Do you feel like you're an ambassador for the people with a disability similar to yours?
I hope so. I mean, I have been reached out by a lot of people who have, because the condition I have is very rare, and so you kind of feel alone with it because it's not, you don't hear about it every day. And I have had specialists from across the world reach out to me. I've had children, I've had adults thanking me for bringing a name and a positive light to this condition. So I feel like I am, and I'm very honored to be, because had I seen someone like that when I first got paralyzed, it would have totally changed it for me. So I hope to be kind of a positive light shining on transverse myelitis.
Thank you, Victoria, for talking to the freshman look of the Partham Middle School, and we really appreciate your visit.
Thank you. This was great. I appreciate all your really good questions. Cartoon one. I've never been asked that before.
Yeah. I just hope you just continue what you do and just help any other person that feels down on themselves. And I just feel like you're just a great person in this world.
Oh, thank you. I hope to continue to do what I'm doing, but thank you. That means a lot.
We hope you enjoyed today's show.
See you next time on The Fresh